you guys doing? My name is Joseph Gui from the Pre-PT Grind. We're about to go on live, myself and Casey, talk about a few topics, have some fun, but I'll wait for Casey to hop on. Yo, what's up, bro? How you doing?
There we go. We live,
Hey.
baby.
All right, let's see if we can share this out to the pre-doc page, and then we'll be good to go. How you been, man? Casey's been having fun doing his rotation in New York, becoming a therapist.
It's so much to do. I actually I came right back from Manhattan. Like I just stepped in the door 10, 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to do. I can't get it all done. I have like 4 or 5 weeks left. And I'm trying to hammer it all in. But yeah, just went to the New York Physical Therapy Association student kind of meetup pub night in Lower Manhattan, kind of central Lower Manhattan. It was pretty fun. Saw a Smart Success colleague of ours, Adam Gaville, and met some of his classmates. It was packed. It was absolutely packed. We had to go back upstairs, find a quiet room to talk some business, some clinical stuff, student stuff. But it was fun. It was fun.
Man,
New York is fun, man.
I need to make a visit out there. And yo, the world is small, especially after you've met people virtually, right? So for us, it's Smart Success PT with Greg Todd. For a lot of the people here, it's through the Pre-Doctor of Physical Therapy Students page, Pre-PT Grind, interacting with us. It's really cool to meet people face to face after having, never met them, but also interacted with them, on social media. So that's pretty dope. I mean, like today I met Molly Knight, who was on our team for some time, the Pre-PT Grind team, today on accident at an interview I was at. I was like, oh, shoot, what, Molly? What? And so world is small. World is small. I see a lot more people are hopping on. This is good.
So Christian, what up?
I see Samantha, Sylvia, Sarah. Oh, shit. All right, man. Let's get it cracking, bro. All right, so today, and I know a few of you might watch this on replay, we've been looking on the Pre-Doctor Physical Therapy Students page and really just kind of seeing what the main questions are. And so a few weeks ago, we kind of put a halt to pre-PT chat based on a few transitions, but we're back on it. Every single week, we're going to be coming on here live, talking about different things that you guys have been having questions about or would like to hear more about. But I think the best part is the fact that you guys can comment and ask questions, and we'll answer them here live. And then anything that you guys want to hear more, you guys can let us know. Message us at Pre-PT Grind, and we will hit it right here. Our purpose as Pre-PT Grind is to offer you guys value. Value. Isn't that right, Casey?
That's right. I mean, you're here for a reason. You wouldn't be here if we weren't providing you with some sort of value, some sort of information. You'd be somewhere else. So that's what we're about.
Exactly. And so today what we're going to talk about is, and we spoke about it a few months ago, I feel like, but we're going to hit it again just on a different angle. We're going to talk about observation hours a little bit. We're also going to hit the waiting game because with anything, the waiting game is usually the most stressful part. I've applied. What the heck do I do for the next who knows how many weeks, how many days, because these people aren't emailing me back. That's kind of stressful. And just embracing transitions and really what to do with them and how to capitalize on them. Not only as a pre-PT student, because that's always going to take place, whether you're going into PT school as a pre-PT, whether you're going into the professional world as a physical therapist, which is what I'm going through right now, and so on and so forth. So those are skill sets that become useful to you guys down the line, not only currently, right?
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's kick it. So the biggest thing with observation hours, and I know a lot of people have asked, how do I find the right place and whatnot? And we've kind of hit that. And I think the bottom line is there's a lot of different settings. And I think the biggest thing with PT, and I just got off a call with Molly Knight, is that there are so many different areas of physical therapy. So one of the ones that's least considered or least known about is, for example, women's health, right? So a lot of people don't know that PTs do women's health. And so the biggest thing that you want to do from the get-go when it comes to observation hours is literally find as many types of settings as you can. And so if that is feasible for you, if you have the time, if you are in an area that has different types of clinics with, I mean, get this, in every clinic, sometimes you have therapists that are specialized in different things, right? Observing as inpatient, it depends on the school though. So you might have to check that out. Case, what have you heard about that in terms of nursing homes counting as inpatient?
I'm not sure about that. Where I'm at in a clinical right now,
Yeah.
our nursing home is attached to the hospital, but it is considered subacute.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of iffy. We can
Yeah.
talk about that more in our personal mentorship stuff. We'll touch on that a little harder there. We got
All
you.
right.
Don't worry.
Perfect. But I think the biggest thing, and Casey, you can hop in, bro, is really just looking at what's available. And when you get to the clinic, asking them, saying like, are there therapists here that specialize in different parts of PT? Like, because if I go to an outpatient ortho clinic, I'm just expecting, the standard ortho. But in some clinics, okay, certain clinics just have general ortho, and that's cool. But for example, I was at a clinic today where they have a therapist that does women's health. So that's the one all the women's health patients go to that person. They have certain therapists that are sports certified, right? And so the athletes, the high school athletes, the college players and whatnot go to them. And so you can ask them and say, hey, what do you guys do? Like, what are different specializations that you guys have? And they might actually, find that to be intriguing because most people don't ask that question. And so now they're saying, oh, shoot, let's say it's Casey. Casey's really interested in the different areas of PT. Let's invest in this kid. And so now you come in one day and let's say 4 hours you're with the sports PT. The next time you come in, you're with the women's health PT. And so now what you're doing is, I mean, you might not like it, but that's the best part, right? Like you want to know if you like it or not. Like you want to know if women's health is for you. You want to know if sports is for you. If you're in the hospital, you want to know if acute care is for you. Is the nursing home for me? Is home health for me? But the biggest thing is really just throwing yourself in there and trying to find as many different areas you can. And the people that have the most advantage are the ones that are just starting college, the ones that have a few years before they apply, the ones that have a year, 2, 3, 4 before you're applying for a PT school. Because for you guys, you're at a point where you have so much time that at times it kind of feels like, man, maybe I should just kind of wait until a year before, then start cranking out my observation hours. But look at it this way. So for a while, I kind of looked at my observation hours as a requirement. I was like, okay, I got to hit this many hours just to be accepted or to be considered for a program. Don't look at it as that. Look at it as you interviewing the profession. You guys are interviewing physical therapy. And the way to do that is to really expose yourself to the different types of it. And that's where asking the questions comes in. It's all for your advantage. It's not for them. Like, you can impress them because you're going to be the one student that's always asking questions. But I wouldn't even be afraid of being too, because I think sometimes I personally feel like I ask too many questions at times. So I don't want to intrude on someone else's clinic space or how they do their thing. But the biggest thing is you want to know, that's the bottom line. Obviously, don't do it while they're treating, but find some time, when they are eating lunch, if you're there during the lunch break, when they don't have a patient and they're in between, ask them questions. They know it. And if they don't answer your questions, find another therapist. I observe them next time. And if they're not there, if they don't want to answer your questions as a clinic, then find somewhere else. But you guys deserve it, right? And so let's see. No, that's the devil talking. I would say to start your observation out as soon as you can. It's never too early. I agree, Melissa. Exactly.
Question from Christian, one of our mentees. I work at an outpatient clinic as a PTA. Do you believe it is still necessary to attain observation hours in an inpatient setting? Yes, at least for our school, we required, I think it was 20 hours inpatient, 80 hours outpatient, and most schools need at least those two. So outside of those two, that's more of what Joseph was talking about. Try to expand your horizon of physical therapy. But as far as the requirements for schools and PTCAS, if you only have outpatient, yes, inpatient, you need those two.
Exactly. And they're so different. Obviously, PT is PT anywhere you go. But as Casey can tell you right now, Casey's doing inpatient rehab. So he's seeing a lot of neuro patients, stroke, spinal cord injuries, and whatnot. And so he's seeing them at a stage where they are not ready for outpatient PT yet. And so when they go to outpatient PT, you're seeing them at a very different point in their rehab process. And so being able to see them like in their most acute state, right? Like, and I'm like, when I was in the hospital, it was a very different vibe from what I got when I went to the outpatient setting, because it's a very different point. Like when they're in their outpatient setting, they're walking in, they're driving themselves to the clinic, they're smiling, they're happy. Man, I've had people cuss me out in the hospital because they're in that much pain. Like it's a very different point in the rehab process. So I think not only is it probably required by most schools, as Casey just said, I think it's good to expose yourself to the other side of the rehab journey. I know Texas Women's requires 80 inpatient, 80, 80, yep. Melissa, yeah, exactly. And so that's the biggest thing. And so Casey, what are things that we should be doing when we walk into a clinic, when we walk into a hospital, when we are in our first day, 2, 3, first, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, what should we be doing as students when we're doing our observation hours, man?
So what I have to say about that is act like you work there already. With a few exceptions, you know, you don't want to walk in there all cocky and stuff, start answering phones, telling people what to do. But, like, act like you work there. Be like, is there anything I can do? Pick up this, you know, throw this away, pick up that linen, clean up. And if you act like you work there, time will go by faster. Mm-hmm. They will love you even more. And since they love you, in turn, they will be more willing to answer your questions, write you a letter of recommendation, tell you what schools they went to, whatever you need, give you extra hours, give you leeway on some things. Like, if you act like you work there and you contribute to their place of work or their clinic of ownership. Actually, we just did a podcast with one of our colleagues, Andrew Tyler, who is now working as a professional physical therapist at the place he volunteered at. He volunteered at a clinic, got hired as a PTA'd or tech, then eventually did a clinical there and got hired there. So and he said he acted like he worked there. He did everything he could, talk to the patients. When the time came, he was given, you know, permission to answer phones and stuff. So, like, act like you work there. Second thing I have is when you're observing, think of your immediate future and your long-term future. So I kind of touched on that before, but immediate future, you're on observation hours. Try to find some experiences there that you can use on your PTCAS essay. Try to find some people there or a physical therapist there or something, or the owner that can write you a letter of recommendation. Try to get in good with them, ask them some questions, see what they need to be done. So that's your immediate future. You know you're going to need a letter of recommendation, and you're going to have to write a PTCAS essay. So think of those in your immediate future. Long-term future, you will be that physical therapist you are observing. So observe how they're acting, observe how they like their job, observe the setting. Like, is it pretty much what Joseph was saying earlier? Is it for you? Is it not for you? Are there some things that the therapist is doing super well? Is it something like, I don't want to be that therapist? So long-term future and short-term future, just a few points for observation hours.
Exactly. And I think one thing, I mean, I'm not going to lie to y'all. There are some settings where you might be bored out of your mind. It's true. It might not be the pace that you might have anticipated. They might not have you really doing as much. They might not have you typing the measurements down for. That's what I'm talking about. And so they might not have you doing all those things like on your first day, right? And when they do it, it kind of makes you like you feel included. But sometimes it does require you kind of stepping out of your comfort zone. When you are kind of feeling like it's boring and it's slow paced and you are tempted to kind of sit on the corner, that's when you get your butt up and you try to start arranging stuff. Like, that's what I did half the time. I was like, yo, if no one's talking to me, I'm going to just make my own work. I'm going to start, patting some pillows. Like, if they're not in pillowcases, put them in the pillowcases. I'm going to act like I'm doing something. I'm going to be on my feet, moving every single moment that I'm here. Because when they write anything for me, whether it's my recommendation letter, they're not going to say I was lazy. They're not going to say I was sitting on my behind. Well, yo, what's up, Alex, homie? And so that's the biggest thing. But also being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? And so, you might feel like you are completely out of place if you're not used to interacting at that level. If you really don't know anybody there, it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Embrace that. And so some sites I observed had a 90 textbook walking me through what they're doing. Patient, man, you got
What's
spoiled,
up,
Sarah.
Kunga? What's up,
Yeah,
man? We gotta
man,
meet up. I'm still in NYC, Kunga. We gotta meet up. Message me or
man,
something.
they spoiled Sarah. They walked her through. Shoot, man, I wish I had
Yeah,
that.
nobody does.
But
Yeah, nobody did that for me.
nobody,
Come on.
nobody. But y'all also remember, this is a bit of a side note. When you guys become therapists, be the therapist that you guys would have valued to observe under. Like, don't forget what you guys are going through right now. Don't forget the struggle of having to, try to start conversations with therapists. Just like literally, like, be everything that. Well, if you're in the settings that are embodying everything that you love, yeah, do just that when you're a therapist. But also, like, just be there for the students when you guys are. I remember my last rotation before I graduated. There was, I don't even know if she's on here, but we'll see, whatever. There was a student that was observing. She was volunteering, observing at the clinic I was at. And I was literally like the only person that gave her attention because I got it. I was like, I understand. Like, I know what you're going through. Like, nobody cares, or at least they don't seem like they care. I know. And so, like, she would come to me for all the questions. She was like, what do I do with PT? Like, is it for me? She was wrestling between physical therapy and occupational therapy. She's like, what do I do? Like, am I, like, is it too, is the schooling too hard? All that stuff, whatever. Not, like, be that person. Like, be that person. If it takes 10 minutes out of your day, it's the world to them. Like, all I remember is the last day she was there, the only person she said bye to was your boy. All right? Like, that's all it was, because she felt like she was valued. She felt like she got someone that understood where she was in her journey and wanted to help her, push herself. And so that's what I would have to say. This is pure gold. Yo, appreciate it, Alex. Appreciate it, man. Did you have anything else to add on to that case?
I think we're good. What's
Good.
the next one? Interviews?
Well, we can talk about interviews all day, man. But I was even gonna hit the waiting game.
Let's go.
What the heck do we do with the waiting game, man? Like, shoot, I've applied. I've done everything on PTCAS. Now I'm waiting. Are these schools that I've applied to really gonna pick me up? Someone said they got the call in 2 weeks. I've been here waiting for about a month. Casey, what the heck do I do, man?
I think I'm gonna let you cover most of this because you did a really good job for new grad physical therapy with one of your videos, and you said even with you and getting ready for jobs and doing interviews is always stay ready.
Yeah.
So I really like that, and that applies to this situation, I think, for the most part, because you never know. Like, somebody could email you, somebody can call you next week, 2 months, 6 months. What happens 6 months down the road? You're like, I guess I'm not going to get in. And you throw away all your stuff. You get rusty on your essay. You get rusty on your topics. So how did you stay ready, Joseph? And how can pre-PT stay ready?
Man, okay. I will agree, bro. Like, the parallels are 100% similar. You guys will most likely go through the same thing when you guys finish PT school. That's what I'm going through right now. And the temptation is to, well, one, like, I hate waiting. So I completely understand. Like, my girlfriend will tell y'all, like, there's days I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, like, I just want to be doing this, that, and the other. But the waiting game sucks. Like, it's absolutely frustrating, but that's normal. Now, what Casey's talking about is, what do we do with that waiting game? Because honestly, it's out of our hands. Like, it really is out of our hands. Like, some schools respond quicker. Casey's mentioned some of our peers at our university that literally got accepted, the week of classes starting, a week into classes starting. Casey and myself were accepted to our programs, almost a year before we started classes. And so there is a spectrum. So there's no formula for that. What I will start with is, what is for you is for you. That's something that my girlfriend's been telling me, like, time and time again. What is for you is for you. It's pending for you. You guys you guys will get into PT school. You guys have gotten through the courses that you've gotten through right now for a reason. You guys are pre-doctor of physical therapy students for a reason. You guys are following pre-PT grind for a reason. You guys are this ambitious for a reason, right? And so for me, like looking for a job, I'm like, I got through PT school for a reason, right? Like, I worked my butt off for a reason. Like, I can't come out here and then just say, well, I guess I give up, PT school was a waste of my time. I'm not getting a job. No, like that will happen. It will happen for all of you. You will all get into physical therapy school at different times. One of y'all will get an interview tomorrow and then get in within a few weeks. Another one maybe a year from now. You guys will get in. Bottom line is, what the heck do we do with the time we're waiting, right? And it's what Casey's talking about, being prepared. Like, what are you doing to prepare yourself? Like, whether it's for PT school, whether it's for the classes that you're going to be taking in physical therapy school, what are you guys doing right now to put yourself one step ahead of your peers? Is it spending a little more time reviewing your anatomy because once you get there, you want to kill it when you get to cadaver lab? Is it developing relationships with other physical therapists so that you can ask them as many questions as possible so that you understand what to expect? Is it hitting us up? What is it? Because I could tell you right now, if your waiting game is about chilling at home, watching movies, don't get me wrong, I love movies. I'm about to get back to one right after I finish this live. But if that's all y'all are doing, that's a waste of the waiting game. Like I mentioned in the live, in the video that Casey's talking about, waiting game, like the waiting process is a blessing. Don't let anybody ever tell you that the waiting process is not a blessing. I thought about this like recently, and it's what's kind of kept me sane. Like right now, as I'm waiting to start working, right? I'm probably never going to get the same amount of time that I've gotten so far between graduation and passing boards and starting my job, right? So what you do is during that phase, you use it to the best of your abilities. You use it wisely. Everything I just said right now. So right now, like you won't get like once you submit everything for all the schools and you say, I've done everything I can, like what do you do in that phase? You guys will not get that same phase again. You don't relive that. And even if you have to apply once or twice, like once that's over and you're accepted, you don't get that back. So how did you invest in that time frame so that once you are in PT school, you are set to go? You feel me? And that's what the waiting games, like I didn't get that when I was at y'all's point. Like I did not get that when I was pre-PT. I didn't get that through most of PT school. I got that like a week ago. All right. Like it finally clicked a week ago. And this is where you guys at. Like I've seen a lot of posts just kind of, man, like, how long should I be waiting for and whatnot? And those are very viable and real questions and real concerns because it's your time, it's your money, it's your future. All I'm saying is, like, you guys put in the work. You guys trust us with your essays and any questions that you guys have. We control what we can. We control the controllables. And then we don't just sit back, relax, and enjoy. We do everything we can to put that time frame to good use.
Once you get accepted, or
Exactly.
when you get accepted,
Exactly.
then you can relax and, and enjoy that.
Watch your shows. I watch House of Cards. There's How to Get Away with Murder.
But at the same time, you want to stay prepared, but don't overstress yourself at the same time. Don't do anything where you're up every day studying anatomy or up every day trying to learn this kinesiology stuff that nobody's teaching you. Just be prepared. Go over your notes. Go over your questions that you're going to ask. Stay fresh with interview tips and body language things and everything like that.
Yeah.
But don't stress too much. You know, take this time. Megan Raftery made a great article, I think, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
She made some points that you chill out.
Mm-hmm.
Chill out. Stay ready, but chill out.
Enjoy the ride, y'all. Yeah. It's funny. The stuff that seems most difficult, when you look back on it, you're like, well, I made it to PT school anyway. You're like, oh, man, why the heck was I stressing out? Enjoy the ride, y'all. Like, have fun with it. Embrace the stuff you don't, like, if you can't control it, you can't control it. We're here to support you guys along the way. But what Casey's saying, chill out. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. You guys don't get this again. And then it becomes a great story for someone else that's trying to get into PT school that's doubting themselves. And then you step in and say, man, like I felt the same way. I get it. But this is how long I had to wait. And I got in. And you will also get in. Here's how I got in. I went to pre-PT grind. And then they just a little plug. But yeah, so do we have any other questions as we continue?
They want us to do interviews.
Interviews?
Yeah.
All right.
Anything specific about interviews? I think a big thing is like body language, the intangibles, because everybody's going to have like the same answers. Everybody's going to have the same questions. A lot of people are asking, what is this school going to ask? What's that school going to ask? you can probably go on these school-specific websites.
Appreciate it,
and
Melissa.
you'll find it. And you'll find the questions and stuff like that. And, come up with some good answers, write 2 or 3 down, narrow it down to one good answer. But, I mean, the big thing is intangibles. Tone inflection, tone of voice, body language, posture. You're going to be learning about posture, in PT school. So you better walk in there, with some good posture.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff. So, like, just the intangibles. So know those. Go ahead, Joseph.
Bro, like, just about the tone of your voice. I was in a car a few weeks ago, and one of my classmates was about to have a job interview, and they were talking about, negotiating costs and stuff like that. And so they got on a call with Dr. Ben Fung. And so they put it on, speakerphone, and so I was listening to it. And he was talking about it. He said, one of the things that people make a mistake with when they do an interview, and they don't realize it because it's something we're taught is okay, is to say, that's a good question. We say that a lot. We say, that's a good question. Like, that's our natural transition. Why do you want to be in physical therapy school? Good question. Well, like, that in itself, believe it or not, actually shows that you're doubtful about what you're about to say next. I didn't know that. Y'all, I use that all the time.
Because you're buying time, huh?
Yeah, I didn't even know that. And so what he said is, this is like, so be like, reaffirm, restate what they are about, like what they asked you, and then say, and this is how. So, for example, what led you to, choosing our school outside of many of the other schools as one of the places to apply? Here's the reason why I chose you guys as boom, boom, boom. And then you go in. And in that moment, your voice didn't switch. You didn't go high. Like, you want your voice to, like, go down, right? It's not like you don't want your voice to, like, go up. You want it to kind of go down. So, like, this is why. Not, like, so don't buy that out. Yeah. And you can buy it with that same phrase, like, by restating their question or by restating the statement that's going to start your answer and then saying, but this is why. You've already bought yourself the same time that you would have if you said, that's a good question. And that was new to me. And I jotted it down. I was like, best believe I'm going to use that on my job interviews. Thank you. Y'all want some real truths? What's up, Raul?
I think another thing is, like, just put yourself in the interviewer's shoes. Like, if you were on the other, if you were on the other side, like, what would you want a student to answer? How would you want a student to present themselves? Like, if you were interviewing yourself, how would you want that to look? Would you want it to look slouched? Would you want it to be a monotone? Would you accept a student who restated the question in that lower tone at the end of their question? So just, like, put yourself in their shoes and say, okay, would I accept this student because of how they answered this, or would I accept that student because of how they were dressed and how they presented themselves and their posture and their tone of voice and all that stuff? Yeah. So just kind of shift the mindset a little bit and take a look in the mirror at yourself. Yeah.
And the thing is, I think we've posted something with, like, interview questions, possibilities, and stuff like that. But sit with a family member. Sit with, contact one of us. We can do, like, a FaceTime or whatnot. And just kind of go through the process of answering those questions. Because I know for a fact that most of us, like, internally by ourselves, we're like, okay, I got this. I know, like, I can be myself. Because you're right, Raul. Like, it's good to be yourself in anything. Like, you want that to show out. Like, you want them to see you. But the biggest thing is you want to make sure that you've kind of practiced, being able to respond to someone else asking you those questions, someone that is the chair of the department or a faculty member and whatnot. And so going through that process of saying, hey, here are some key questions that they might ask me, mom or dad or cousin or sister, brother, or Casey Josephs. Can you, just kind of run them through me and just, like, tell me how I respond. Tell me if my answers are pretty concise. Am I verbalizing them well? Because the biggest thing is, it's an impressions thing. It's an impressions thing every single time. Like, I think all of you are phenomenal individuals. Our goal is to make sure that the people that are sitting across the chair from you or across the desk from you see that very same thing, right? And so it's not about going in there and trying to be someone you are not. I disagree. I had 3 interviews and just emulated my passion for loving physical therapy and laughed. That's phenomenal, Raul, man. Like, that's absolutely phenomenal. But I think the biggest thing is that does work quite a bit. And I think in kind of seeing what other, physical therapy departments have done, and in what they look for in individuals that they are interviewing, like they're human beings. And so as human beings, yes, you got to put in the hard work prior to. But as human beings, there are also things that really do stand out. Like I remember I used to work for an organization where it was not physical therapy. We used to do a lot of the interviews. And so in my last 2 years, I was part of the interview team. And I remember there was a young man that we hired only because I knew him outside of the setting we were in. The rest of the team did not want to hire that person because of how they interviewed. It was then after that I said, hey, man, like this is how I know this individual will be of benefit to what we are doing here. And had the person had they put that together and actually shown that, they would have been at an advantage, because once I talked about all those things, they're like, oh, of course, like that's exactly what we're looking for. And that's the same thing with PT programs, right? And so, Case, what are your thoughts on that, man?
Let's go to this question. What questions to ask the faculty? I get this question a lot. And I say, ask what you want to know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're there. It's your PT school. Well, it could be your PT school. So you're interviewing them as well as they're interviewing you, because they want you. They need that paycheck. They need that tuition. So you gotta ask. You gotta ask what you want to know from that school. I gave some questions to the personal mentorship group. It was some different questions that they could use for an example. But for in general, just what do you want to know? Do you want to know how much it costs? Do you want to know how much money they're taking out? Do you want to know clinical affiliations? How far can I go? How close can I stay? How connected are you in the community? Are you involved in the APTA? Like, what do you want to do in your career? And you got to ask them those questions of how they can help you be successful in your career, because you are writing the check, you are writing the loan check, you got to pay this back. So whatever you want to know, you got to bring that out of them. And when they see you asking those questions, your passion is going to come out, your intensity is going to come out, and they're like, oh, they're serious about this. They want to know what we can do for you. Then they'll start selling themselves. They'll be like, oh, for real? Well, we can do this for you. We can do that. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Then that's where you can gain some confidence, because now the chair has switched. And that's where it really changes, when you have the confidence. So if you ask the questions you want to know, now you're sitting back. Now don't sit back like this. Don't do that. But in your head, you're like, oh, okay, I got them now. Now I can, relax and laugh and talk about physical therapy and how much I love it, because now I'm in that boss chair, so to speak. So yeah, those are some tips for some interviews on my part.
Exactly. And I agree. Do your work on the front end. We hit that with our podcast with Jerry Durham, and he was talking about it. He was saying, I think the number one thing is doing your research, and I agree. Know the school in and out. That goes with the job interview, y'all. Like, you have to know the clinic in and out. You have to know what they stand for. But just remember, you guys are interviewing them. They're not the only ones interviewing. All right. So come in with that mentality. Know your stuff. Talk about them. Greg Todd always says, be interested and not interesting, right? So be interested in everything that they are doing, what they are trying to build, what their goals are. And if they're an accredited program, I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, I know a lot of people really want to go to big name schools, but if they're accredited and they're a physical therapy program, they're a PT program. Like, you will be a physical therapist. And so don't even let the big name get in the way. Like, understand them. What are they building? What are they looking for? How do other students respond to their program? What is the style of their program? Because there are different versions of PT programs, 2-year programs, 3-year programs, 4-year flex programs, where you're going for a weekend, to do your labs and then doing other stuff online. Like, understand all those things, but you have to do your research prior to going in.
I love it. I think we got it.
We got it, y'all.
We got it.
We have a lot of stuff that we want to keep sharing with y'all. But the bottom line is, every live that we do here, we want to talk about things that you guys want to hear about. If Casey and I are talking to ourselves, it defeats the purpose. We want to talk about topics that you guys want to discuss, whether it's something you're confused on, whether it's something you just are not sure or really understand a lot about. So obviously you can comment here on this video, or you guys can send us a message on our Pre-PT Grind business page. If you guys have not liked that, go there right now. Like our Pre-PT Grind business page. Y'all, we got some good stuff coming. But the bottom line is we want to serve you guys. We want to serve y'all. And the only way we can serve y'all is if we know what you guys need. So we need you guys to hit us up and just let us know what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to understand. And then we'll go from there. Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right, y'all. Have a great evening. It's been real.